Hello and welcome to our In Bulk Festival, and my talk is going to be about the Sociable Pagan. My name's Jenny Luddington and I'm the Pagan Federation Disability Liaison for the South East, and currently I would consider myself to be quite a sociable pagan. I'm involved in several local groups. I'm from Folkestone and I'm involved in the Folkestone Pagan Circle, and we run quite a few things. We have a moot, there's a drumming circle, we run red tents for the women and white tents for the men. I'm also involved in the Kent Goddess group, where I'm one of the priestesses there, and we meet at the Sabbats to celebrate the Wheel of the Year, and that's a women's ceremonial group. But before I did anything in real life with other pagans, I connected with pagans online, and I used to frequent a website called UK Pagan Valley. It was a message board, and that was my very first foray into being a social pagan, and it was great. Was before the days of Facebook, so message boards were the thing to do if you wanted to find out about everything and anything, and it was really good. I've made friends online that I've met in real life, and I've made friendships that have lasted well over 20 years, and it was also the first time where I went and met people in real life. We had it wasn't camping actually, because we all stayed in a bed and breakfast, but we all went to Scarborough, and that was the first time I'd met a lot of people who I'd known for absolutely years online, but meeting them in real life. Now, somebody later will be doing a talk on keeping yourself safe, so my talk isn't going to cover that, but I'm just going to talk about ways that you can meet people, and some of the pros and some of the cons of meeting people and socialising more within your community. Now, after I'd met these people that I'd met online, I decided I wanted to make more of a presence known in my local community, and the very first group that I joined up with was probably enough to put me off socialising with other pagans for life. We had a group and it was great while it lasted, but it did spectacularly implode. And sometimes this happens, you know, pagan people tend to have really big personalities, and with that you occasionally get personality blowouts and groups disbanding, but don't let that put you off. You know, that was unfortunately what happened to me, but that said, I've gone on and joined many more groups and had many fantastic experiences. So the ways that we can meet other pagans, as I said, I've already talked about the internet. It's never really been easier to find other pagans. You've got Meetup, you've got Facebook, you've got the internet. If you look for contact lists run by pagan federations or other reputable pagan organisations. But I think one of the very first ways that we meet other pagans is by the pub moot. Now, obviously, not all moots meet in pubs, but there is that kind of tradition of them meeting in pubs. I've met with groups in people's homes, I've met in groups in coffee shops. Again, make sure that you look to your safety before meeting people. But moots tend to be advertised really regularly. You're usually able to get hold of somebody's contact details. If you are a bit wary, it can be an idea to make contact first and arrange somewhere to meet before you go into a group. So if you don't want to go in a pub in your own, maybe go to a coffee shop, take someone with you. Another way I've engaged with other pagans is through conferences and camps. I think my favourite camp to go to is the Mercy and Gathering. That is really accessible. They make sure that there's plenty of disabled access toilets. There's designated camp space for people with disabilities, and the organisers couldn't be more friendly or more accommodating. And then there's joining local groups. As I said, I'm involved in a couple of groups, but if you do go on Facebook, put in your local area and paganism, you may very well find something local to you. But going back to the moots are really fun. They come in all shapes and varieties. You get some moots which are purely social, and to the most point, our moot in Folkestone is more of just a social moot, but sometimes you get moots that have speakers that come in and will talk to you on a particular subject. So what are the benefits to being a social pagan? Not everybody does want to socialise, but for me, I think the benefits is having somebody to celebrate with, the festivals and sabbats. I really enjoy ritual work, so to get together with others in circle is, for me, a really nice way to do things. There is nothing wrong with celebrating on your own. Some people prefer that. But for me, the sense of community that you get from joining your celebrations with others, the energy that you can raise. I also think it's good for me, for my mental health, just being able to connect with people. One of the things with my disability, I have a seizure disorder, is at various points in my life I've not been able to get out or travel very far or travel on public transport. So for me, one of my priorities was to make sure that I could attend events. So if that was putting money aside to make sure that I could get a taxi to and from, or as I got to know people, I was very lucky in that people would help me out with transport. But being involved in events really helped to minimise my social isolation. Some of the cons can be that you can get cliques, and I think another con is once you get involved in groups, you might get to be involved in organisation and running things, and for me personally, it can be really easy to overcommit. So if you have a disability where you've got to manage your spoons, being open with people and saying if you can't do things, and saying, you know, if you need support. And I think most people, once they're aware, are happy to help out and happy to know what you can give, when you can give it, and likewise when you need to pull back and conserve some of your energy. So finally, I'd just like to talk to you about some of the barriers. I mean, especially if you're running events. Barriers can include accessibility and venues. We talked earlier about the stereotypical pub moots. These are not always accessible places, so do check ahead with people and find out where their venues are accessible. Likewise, if you're running events, please publish on your Facebooks what the accessibility is like for people, because there is nothing worse than going somewhere and not being able to get through the door. So I hope I've made a case for being a sociable pagan. Once you do find a community, once you do find a tribe, it can be absolutely fabulous. So I hope that if you do want to make contact with pagans in real life, that you are able to. And if you would like more information about what's local to you, do comment below and ask about your local rep and if they know about the accessibility of venues. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you all have a fabulous in bulk. Take care. Bye bye.